So I'm here with attorneys Justin Lovely and Sarah Austin. We're chatting all about injuries at amusement parks. This is a big thing here, right?
It's huge because, obviously we're a vacation destination and we have a lot of these amusement parks. And we're not thinking about Disney World or Universal Studios like Orlando. We have rides, trampoline parks, water parks, go-kart parks, even putt-putt courses, things like that. That's along the coast here.
Do you see a lot of these come through?
Yeah, we definitely get a handful every season, and that's why we want to make this content to can we educate vacationers and locals alike on the front end so they know what to look out for and what to do if you or a loved one or your kids, because that's usually the kind of cases we get hurt on one of these rides.
Right. So let's talk about trampolines first. Trampolines have always freaked me out to begin with. My kids will never be on them because they're just scary. But, what kind of happens with trampolines? What do you see that comes in for injuries for that?
So trampoline parks are sweeping the nation. They're very fun. You can take your kids there. You walk in. Everybody signs in on a little computer. You go and pay your entry fee. There's birthday parties going on.
Sure.
It looks great. Chaos going everywhere, right? And for parents, you're having a great place to have your birthday party, you think, and you can go have a Coke, watch a game, whatever, while your kids go and jump. And they're jumping on these crazy trampolines. There's a basketball trampoline, a dodgeball trampoline. You're jumping on the wall.
I feel like you've had a lot of experience at these trampoline parks.
Well, I have, both with my kids, but also with injuries that we're seeing and these cases that we have. And I can tell you this, I do not want my kids going anymore after I kind of tell you what's going on to look out for. But, so that's been sweeping across the nation. We've got two large ones here. There's I think there's two or three in the Charleston area where we work. So they're here to stay, and they're making a lot of money. Okay, because it's all the craze now. You don't take your kids to the arcade anymore. They're playing games. And so parents want to get them out of the house, get them off the electronics, and what's one way to release some energy? Send them to the trampoline park for a couple hours. Okay? So the problem that we're seeing is kids are bouncing. You could get the dreaded double bounce, okay? And that's where they're bouncing and some other kid that might be heavier than them hits it, and the momentum it's the force of their legs, and it will cause a compression fracture on their back or their legs. Okay, you've got obviously just a slip and fall where they fall and hit their head on something. So we're seeing those. So a lot of ankles, hands, head injuries. That's what's happening at these locations.
Is it just the trampoline parks, or are you seeing like residential trampoline injuries as well?
Yeah, well, historically that's always been an issue.
Right.
Some people will know, hey, you get a trampoline, and then all of a sudden your homeowner's insurance won't renew your rate, or it's something exponential once they understand you have that. But that danger does lie there. But what we're talking about today is strictly the amusement side of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, when they go there, they do sign this waiver. So does that kind of hold them to not be able to do anything?
Yeah, so that scares a lot of people. And I want everybody to understand, just because there's a waiver, we can beat a waiver. Okay? These waivers are trying to get you to sign off on it, or your kid might not even be with you. They might be with some friend who's an adult, maybe a birthday party they've been dropped off with, and they're the ones signing these waivers for these people.
Gotcha.
We could still prove gross negligence or some other kind of design defect to get around that waiver issue. But that does scare, and that's the reason they want to kind of scare you, and they know that it's dangerous.
Right.
But if you read that, you're like, oh my God, even though my child was hurt, well, I signed a waiver. There's no case here. That's not true. We need to look at it and see if it's something that we can beat, which we can often do.
And that's not just with trampoline parks. That's with any amusement ride or park. Go-karts, I know they have waivers.
Any kind of physical thing, I feel like there's always those waivers.
Yeah, and I think that when you're signing that waiver, if you even read it, which most people don't, it just says real scary. You can't sue us for anything.
Yeah.
You're expecting that the park or the go-kart or the ride is going to be operating perfectly, like they're doing everything right to protect you. And that's usually not the case, especially.
Well, how does staffing issues affect this?
Yeah, so what we've found on the cases that we've worked is these people are either very understaffed, or if they are staffed, it's like little teenage kids with their first high school job.
Right.
What are they doing? They're not paying attention, right?
Sure.
They're working a cash register and then just sitting there bored until their shift's over. And then there needs to be certain ratios. I mean, if you got a couple kids and then a couple employees watching a couple kids, okay, maybe you're fine. But if you got a couple kids who are teenagers and kids themselves trying to watch 1,000 kids jumping at one time on a busy Friday or Saturday, it's impossible. It can't be done.
Gives me anxiety thinking about it.
It's having enough staff, but then it's also training your staff properly, which, I mean, you've got teenagers training teenagers. A lot of the cases we have, it's not even what leads up to the injury, but it's how they respond after the injury. They don't really train them on emergency protocol, when to call an ambulance. They don't have people on site who can treat injuries like that, or even like first aid kits sometimes.
Yeah.
So all that goes into play.
Or you'll have teenage kids or bigger kids bouncing with a little 3-year-old kid, and that's where the problem lies. Or they're playing dodgeball and slamming little kids because nobody's taking care of these people.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of environment that these places create, and then obviously injuries happen, and then subsequently lawsuits have to happen.
Sure.
When life gets ugly, justice is lovely. The love